Okay, disjunction, who wants to read for us?
P.
Go for it.
The disjunction of P with Q, P or Q, is a statement that is true if only at least one of the P or Q and Q is true. Another way to think of it is that P or Q is false and only both statements P and Q are false.
So the only way this one's false is both statements have to be false. So if you have a statement P and a statement Q, the only way the disjunction of P or Q, the only way it's false is if both statements are false. If there's at least one of them's true, then the whole statement's true. So they can both be true, one of them can be true, that makes them true. Yes?
So even if there's like 3 statements and only one of them is true, it's true.
Yes.
Correct.
Questions? Okay, so example. Let P, Q, and R be the same statements as in example 5. So if you remember, P was Santa's jolly, Q was Christmas on the July 4th, and R was George Washington was the first U.S. president. So if you take the disjunctions of these, okay, the disjunction of P with Q, Santa is jolly or Christmas is on July 4th. One of these is true, right? Which one's true?
And jolly.
And jolly, that's our true. So in this case, this disjunction is true. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down. We'll go ahead and skip this one. You guys, you have examples there if you want to read through them. We're going to come down here to determine the truth value of a disjunction using our truth table. So given that we have P and Q, if we want to find P or Q, if P is true and Q is true, then P or Q has to be true.
Right.
If P is true and Q is false, P or Q has to be true. If P is false and Q is true, P or Q has to be true. If they're both false, P or Q is false. Pretty simple, I hope. Yes?
Is there a thing that like if that's like if both P and Q are false, it's true, but if one of them or one of both of them is true, it's false?
In this case, no matter what, if P is false and Q is false, it's going to be false.
No, but I mean in like a difference. So not and.
If the truth value is this and this, and you have a disjunction, this is always the case. This is just a fact.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the disjunctions. I was talking about other things. Like,
So conjunction, for it to be true, they all have to be true, right?
but I mean, there's like more than all that we've been covering. So is there one that's like, if both are false, like neither, if neither this or this is true, this is true.
But he's
I
talking
think-
about maybe a future lesson.
Like
Um,
a future lesson. I'm very
I understand. He's asking, wondering in the future if there's another one that you just learned and.
Get these two down first. Get conjunctions and disjunctions down first. They're going to get more complicated, yes. They'll get more complicated. We'll go with that for now, okay? So yeah, they'll get more complicated because we're going to put conjunctions and disjunctions together with negations. So there could be a case where your truth value may not be what you think it is I think what your question is getting at is like, we have a weird looking answer when you think it's supposed to be false, right? That's what you're getting at? But, remember your name? James? So James, there could be a case when you think, that truth value is not what I thought it was. I think it's what you're, to back up your question and dissect it a little bit, there could be something where you think it's an opposite value of what you think it might be.
Yeah, because I mean, on the pre-test, I saw this enormous truth table.
We're going to get to those enormous truth tables. Okay? Okay, will you just scroll down, please? All right, example 6. So, if you have this case up here, using these truth values, you can see P or Q is true, P or R is true, and Q or R is true, using our examples with the Santa Claus. So if you go back up to example with the Santa Claus and the Christmas is on the 4th of July, these are the truth values for those cases. Okay? So that's for the top of the page that we started with. So that's just another part of the answer for the top of the page. And we're not gonna go over all those because we're gonna practice some other ones. Yes?
So the upside down thing means and the regular thing means or.
This means or. Disjunction means or. Yes. Okay? Alright, let's do some practice ones. Okay, exercise 4 is where we're at. For the following statements, write the compound statement indicated in standard form and determine the truth value of the resulting statement. So, we need not A. I need not A. Who's got not A formulas? A is Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president. What is not A? Yes?
Abraham Lincoln was not the 16th president.
So Abraham, I'm just going to put AL for abbreviation. Abraham Lincoln was not the 16th U.S. president. Okay.
It sounds like our is not the 16th.
Yep, we abbreviated. Abraham Lincoln. Okay, my question for you is statement A true or is not A true?
A true.
A is true. Okay, not A is false. Okay, a lemon is tart. I need the negation. Yes?
A lemon is not hard.
A lemon is not tart. So negation of B, a lemon is not tart. What the heck does tart mean? What does tart mean?
It means like sour, and
Sour?
it means like tart is like flavor that's like sour, and it's just not like sweet at all. Like sweet tarts, those are
Those are
really
sweet and sour.
I like them.
Just like divide into a lemon.
They're so good.
Okay, so a question for you guys is a lemon tart.
Yes.
A lemon is tart, is that true?
Yes.
Okay, do we agree?
Yes.
Alright. A lemon is not tart, is that?
That's false.
That's false, okay. The other one's true, this one's gotta be false, right? Because these are negations. If the statement is true, then the negation has to be false. If the statement was false, the negation has to be true. Okay, the last one. Valentine's Day is in December. I need the negation for Valentine's Day is in December.
Valentine's Day is not
Valentine's Day is not in December. Okay, we're gonna abbreviate that too for our purposes. Okay, coming down here, we've got our truth. Oh, wait, we need a truth value for C. Valentine's Day is in December. Is that true or false?
false.
False, so the negation has to be true. Okay, let's come down here. Write the truth values and statements in the given space. We did that. Let's just make sure we do this right here. We'll put it in the values. We know that the first one's true, true, and false. So you can put those right there, put them up above. Questions? So we haven't even, we're setting up the problem so we can answer the other questions now. So now we're going to write the disjunction of the next ones. Okay, I'm going to erase these. You guys have them written down?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's look at number 2. So this is exercise 4, number 2. So we're doing some of our homework again. We like having our homework done, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Write the disjunction of A with B and determine the truth value. I want you guys to go and try this one on your own. So A or B, and we got statement A or statement B, and then show me the truth value. Go ahead and write it down.
Do we just have to write the truth value, or do we have to write?
I want you to write the statement. Write the statement and its truth value. So write the disjunction. When it says write the disjunction, that means write the whole statement.
You can write or then.
You're going to do what you think you need to do on this one. You guys are trying it, and then I'm going to show you the right answer. So the disjunction of A or B, of A with B, and determine its truth value. The disjunction of A with B and determine its truth value. Okay, who thinks they have an answer that hasn't answered anything today? Go for it.
Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president, or 11 is.
Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president, or a lemon what?
Is tart.
Lemon is tart. Well, we know statement A is true and statement B is true, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the value of the whole disjunction?
True.
True. Very good, you guys. Okay, heads down real quick. Heads down. Heads down. Heads down. Okay, who got, heads down. Who got that one right? Who got it wrong but understands what they did wrong? Hands down, heads up. Good. Okay, go ahead and do number, oh, I wrote number. Let's go ahead and do number 3 now. You have the negation of A, the disjunction of the negation of A with C. So disjunction of not A with C. The disjunction of not A with C. This is where you get your practice in and make sure you know what you're doing. So make sure you go ahead and answer along. Try it on your own. If you get it wrong, great, because then we can see what you're not doing right. It's good to mess up and not try at all, right? If you're going to mess up 100%. Okay, who thinks they have an answer that hasn't answered anything today? Go.
Abraham Lincoln was not the 16th U.S. president or Valentine's Day in December.
Was not the 16th U.S. president or Valentine's Day, I'm just put Val Day, is in December. Okay, not A, is this true? It's false, right? And this is C, that's false, which makes the whole disjunction
False.
very good. Heads down. Who got number 3 correct? Who didn't get number 3 correct? Who didn't get number 3 correct, and you understand why you missed it? Hands down, heads up. Very good. Any questions so far? Okay, let's do number 4. Give you guys about 20 seconds to get that one written down. Number 4. Go ahead and do number 5 if you're done with number 4. Get them both done. We'll answer these 2 pretty quick. Yeah. Huh? That's for me to know. Okay, these ones we're just going to talk about instead of me taking time to write them so we can make sure we get everything done today. So I'll make sure we get the right answers out and then we'll get the truth value. So who thinks they have an answer for number 4? You know anything today yet? Go.
Valentine's Day isn't in December, or Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S.
Say it again.
Valentine's Day isn't in December, or Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president.
Okay, isn't or is not, right? So Valentine's Day is not in December, or Abraham Lincoln was what? Okay. Is she right? What's the value of the whole disjunction? True. Okay. So again, the answer for number 4, Valentine's Day is not in December, or Abraham Lincoln was the 16th U.S. president. The whole disjunction is true. Number 5, who's got it? Okay, go for it. Yep.
A lemon is tart or Valentine's Day is not in December.
Lemon is tart or Valentine's Day is not in December. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the truth value of the whole disjunction? True. So again, a lemon is tart or Valentine's Day is not in December is number 5, and that disjunction is true. Okay, next. Cruising through. Big truth table, right?
Yeah.
You just scroll, yeah, going right. One, right there. Okay, big ugly truth table. Now it looks intimidating. It's not. Okay, we're gonna break it down so it's not scary. Parentheses. Okay, you're used to group statements together. Did we know that already? Let's think about this. If we know 2 or 3 plus 4 times 7, what do we do first? 3 plus 4 because we grouped the 3 and the 4 together, yes? If there's no parentheses, what do you do first?
4 times 7.
4 times 7. So parentheses, group statements together. Group statements together. Is 3 plus 4 a statement essentially?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a mathematical statement or expression. Okay, same idea. Okay, we have 2 statements. We have P or Q and R, and we have P or Q and R. Those are 2 different statements. Okay, they may appear to be the same casual observer, okay, because P, Q, and R, look, these look the same, right? The only difference is the parentheses have been moved. You see that? Okay, however, their truth tables are different. And then I just scroll down just a little bit so we get this maybe right. Get this line right here, like this, where the gray and the white separate, right there.
What's a glitch?
I think I had these problems. You guys like that right there? Can you see that? Okay? We're going to try this for a minute.
We have it in our desk, so we can just look at
So
it.
you guys, that middle row, you're going to have to make sure you look at it because it's hard to see from my angle anyway. Yeah. So we'll look at this. So we have P, Q, and R. Okay? If P is true and Q is true and R is true, P or Q has to be true.
Yeah.
So this is a disjunction right here. Then you got to say, well, this is a disjunction with a conjunction. Right? So disjunction together, conjunction. Is follow? Okay. And then we have Q and R, Q or, and then Q and R. So now we got to figure out how to make this make sense.
Okay.
Any ideas? How are you guys seeing this? What makes sense to you right now looking at the table? How are you making sense of it? This is a mask. You got to make sense of the problem, right? Go for it.
So P or Q would be true because either of the statements is true.
Okay.
And then P or Q and R, all 3 of them have to be true in order to, wait, no, at least 2 of them have to be true, or 1 of them have to be true to make that true. And then Q and R, Q and R, either one of them has to be true. And then P or Q and R, one of them has to be true to make that true.
Good. I'm going to break it down just how you said it, okay? So what we're going to do here, doesn't work, it's garbage. Oh, so close.
So close.
Almost. Okay, so we know this is true, yes? Stay with me, guys. Stay with me right here.
Yes.
Okay, true, true, true. If P, Q, and R are true, remind me your name. Kinley's saying, look, if we know P or Q are true, so this statement's true, let's assume this is true. That means we're going to assume that that statement's true right here. So that would be, if you take this statement, let's just do P or Q. And then we're gonna say and R. We know that the truth value is gonna be true, yes?
Yeah.
They told us that. But what if it was blank, is my question. How would you figure out that this one's true? Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We know P or Q has to be true. Okay? R is also true. So you got two truths which make a true. Okay, now we're gonna come here. If we have Q is true, R is true, Q and R have to be true.
Alright.
So let's just take this now. We're gonna say P or Q and R. Hey, you guys stay with me for a minute, okay? If I have P, I know P is true. Q and R, if I'm looking at this case right here, if they're all, this is the thing, we have 8 different situations or 7? We have 7 different situations, right? You have 7 rows?
Yes, 8.
8 different rows. So you have 8 different scenarios. The first scenario is saying if they're all true. Okay? Taking that first scenario, if Q is true and R is true, this statement has to be true. So Q, P, or Q and R have to be true. Okay? So all this table is taking those 8 different scenarios and telling you, well, this is what would happen if those scenarios are true. Who had my question? Remember your name again? James, right?
Yeah.
James, this comes to your question. Kind of. You have all these different scenarios. Okay? You gotta go for a second, or?
I was trying to get something to clean up my water bottle.
Okay. So, let me scroll down just a little bit. We're not gonna look at each of the 8 scenarios, but let's look at one more. Let's look at scenario 6.
Alright.
Okay, scenario 6. We're going to look right here. Scenario 6. If P is false, Q is true, and R is false. So we have a disjunction, P or Q. What happens in a disjunction to make a disjunction true?
Just one of them has to be true, not all of them.
One of them has to be true. So if I have P or Q, so that's a false and a true, that's got to be true.
Yeah.
Okay? If I have P or Q, I know P or Q is false, or sorry, is true. So that would be a true, mixed with a conjunction of R, and R is false. So that's going to be a true with a false, which is just going to give us a false.
Alright, yeah.
Okay? Remember when we talked about Sudoku a little bit yesterday? I mentioned Sudoku?
Yeah.
Kind of like Sudoku, right?
Yeah.
It's the same principle, though. You know what I mean? You're filling in blanks. Given a situation.
It's a game of numbers.
But it's letters. Huh? Okay, give me just a second. So we'll look at scenario 4 next, okay? And we'll move on. If we finish scenario 6, Q and R, that's going to be a true and a false. That's got to be false. Because it's a conjunction. Conjunctions are only true with what?
All of them are true.
All of them are true. So Q and R, one of them's false, the conjunction's false. So if I take a false, mix it with, so Q and R, that's going to be false here. And then P is true, or sorry, P is false in scenario 6. So that's a false and a false, so that makes it false. Okay? Yes?
But, so, there is or though,
On this one? So scenario 6, Q and R, that's false, right? So that's going to be a false with an or, and P we said was false. So that's going to be a false or a false, which is just going to be a false. So on all of these, when you get something nice and ugly like this, if you had to fill in the table from blank piece, which you're going to have to do, yes, you're going to fill in a big table, you do the parentheses first to find its truth value. Find the truth value of the parentheses, mix it with the truth value of what's not in the parentheses. Kind of just like we would do 3 plus 4 times 7. you've got to do what's in parentheses first, right? Questions on that? Okay, heads down. Who feels like they could fill in this truth table if it was blank? Who feels like they could give it a good shot? They could do a pretty good job, but they might be struggling. And who is totally lost? Okay, hands down, heads up. Okay, lost people, I need you to ask a question.
Question.
Yes. Like, where are we struggling if you're lost? Maggie?
If the whole table was blank, how would you find out if P, Q, and R are true?
Ah, good. Well, you would have to figure out, well, what are my scenarios for P, Q, and R? Okay? So her question is, the whole table's blank, how would we fill it in? Well, you've only got options for P, Q, and R to be true, 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 false, true, false, true, true, false, 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 true, true. You figure out the different situations where P, Q, and R can be true and false. So you have to have these three columns first before you can do any of this stuff.
Yes.
Make sense? Answer your question?
Yes.
You more confident now in it?
A little bit.
Okay. Other questions? Yes.
Can we start on the next exercise and like by ourselves?
In a minute. Yes, question.
So in scenario number 4, why isn't it like scenario number 6?
So true, false, false. 6 is false, true, false. So you're asking what?
How come the truth values are different?
Right here and here? Because we're assuming that P is true and Q is false and R is false. Here we're assuming P is false, Q is true, and R is false.
Yeah, but they both only have one truth.
It depends which one's true and which one's false, though.
Got it.
So your question is, there's only one true in both scenarios here, right?
Yep.
Why aren't they having the same outputs? It's because of how they're combined. So notice, when we had 3 plus 4 times 7, depending on where those parentheses are at, it changes the value, yes? Parentheses change the values in some cases. Notice, in tables 4 and rows 4 and row 6, truth value is the same here and here. Truth value is the same here and here. Truth value is the same here and here. But when you get here, this becomes a true and this is a false. That's the only truth value they defer it because of where the parentheses are placed. Okay, because you have to perform the operation in the parentheses first. Okay, yes?
Is it possible to have 3 letters but without parentheses?
So P or Q and R like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Which one do you do first?
Wait, you just go left, it's like order of operation, just go left to right.
I don't think you guys will have one like this, though. We'll see. Okay, we just go down just a little bit now.
Boys. Yeah. Stop.
You got a problem, guys? Huh? Oh yeah. If you do, you might have to move. So, can't have to sit by each other and move, please. Okay, scroll down. Okay, notes. Okay, this demonstrates that P or Q and R is not the same as P or Q and Q and R. Okay? Remember, the operation side of the parentheses must be done first. Any grouping symbols may be used to group a statement. So it might not be parentheses, it might be brackets, it might be curly braces. Do the operation on the innermost symbol first. So if I had something like this, P or Q and R and Q. So you would start from the inside and work out. Okay, it's like a parenthesis inside of a parenthesis, is what they're saying. Questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, next. Okay, right there. Example 7. Okay. Let P, Q, and R be the statements with the following truth values. So P is true, Q is true, R is false. We have TTF. Find the truth value of the following statement. Okay, this one's pretty long, right? We got to work from the inside out. What are we going to start with first? Which value are you going to find first? Yes?
The parentheses inside of the bracket.
So that's a Q and an R, which would be Q, true with a false. Conjunction of a true and false. What's a conjunction of a true and false? What's the truth value? Yes?
False.
False. So this guy, we're going to say is false. So that means we're going to take P, or whatever this was, Q and R, that's a P is true, so that's a true or a false, so true or false, which is true. One of them's true, so the whole statement's true. So that makes this whole thing in the brackets true. And we're going to have a conjunction with not Q. So we're going to take a true statement, and we're going to make a conjunction with not Q. Well, not Q is going to be false. So we're going to take a true conjunction with a false, which makes it
False.
false. Okay? You might want to write that down if that helps. Then they have the steps here written for you too. That's also something for you to go review. Heads down. Okay, who understands the example we just did? Raise your hand if you understand the example we just did. You understand? Raise your hand if you kind of understand the example we just did. Raise your hand if you do not understand the example we just did. Hands down, heads up. Okay. I need to know, those of you that are lost and don't understand, I need to know where we're lost and where we don't understand. Yes?
So, if I have parentheses instead of brackets instead of parentheses,
Do you have
that would
parentheses?
mean that I do the parentheses and then the brackets and then the parentheses, right?
Mhm. Yep, so here we did this part first, right? Found its truth value. So that's Q and R. That was false. Right?
Yeah.
Then we say, okay, now we're going to do this part. True with a false. That makes it true because it's a disjunction. Then we're going to take a true and a not Q, which is not Q is false. So that's a true and a false, which is going to be false. Is that okay?
But I thought that when it was and, like, it has to be two F's.
It has to be two truths to be true.
That's an or.
So an or, if you have one true at all, it's going to be true.
Oh.
Okay? Other
Like a
questions?
mathematical equation.
Huh?
Like a mathematical equation.
Yes. I mean, that's really all these are, just with letters and values. Or with
Isn't that
no
what
truth values.
algebra is?
This is like foundational to why algebra works. Making sense now? Good. Okay, scroll down, please. Okay, exercise 5. Ready, go. Get this exercise done. Ready, go. Fill in your truth table. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes.
I'm already done with it.
If you're done with it, sit tight. Compare your answer with someone else next to you.
If I don't want to compare.
You guys can talk to each other for this. You guys can help each other out. This is practice. That's what the exercise is for. You to practice. Hey, there's a parenthesis right here that's cut off on mine. Probably cut off on yours. Hey, guys, see this parenthesis? Pink parenthesis. Okay, it's cut off on your paper. Put it in, it's there. How we feeling about things back here, guys? Good? Done? Almost done? Where's your books? You want to get this number? Oh. Okay. Yeah, just part 2, please. These statements have the same truth outcomes as truth tables twice. So we're asking, is this statement the same as this one? Huh? So P and R, Q and R is true, 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 false, 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 right? P and Q and R is true, 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 false, true, false, true, false. How we doing? Huh? So we take a disjunction, you understand what that is? So that's the or, right? And that's a conjunction with and. So if we know disjunction, at least we have Q or R. One of them is true, so that's true, good. Q or R, so it's a true mixed with the P value, which is true, 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 good. Okay, now look at this Q or R. And R is false, and Q is true. It has to be true because one of them is true. Does that make sense? On a disjunction, if one of them is true, in this case, if Q is true or R is true, then it's got to be true. We know Q is true, R is false. Now we're going to take this disjunction right here. We know its output is true, right? So we're going to take P, which is true, conjunction with R, with Q or R, and that's going to be a true with a true, which is going to be a true. Okay. P and Q, that's going to be true and a true, which is true, good. So now we have a true, or R, which is so true or an R is false, yes? So it's a true with a false, which is a disjunction. What would be the truth table? True because this one's true. That statement's true, right? If you have P and Q, it's true. Okay, P and Q is true. So you take a true or a false. R is false in this case. So you're gonna say, well, that's false. It's gonna be true. This one's true. That one's false. So this acts as one statement. Does that make sense? Once you combine these two, P and Q, that's acts as one statement. Okay. Yeah. They're asking, is this statement the same as this statement? Why? Well, you gotta compare though. They both have a true, true, true. False, false, true. False, 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 true. False, false. So in this row and this row is where they differ. The rest of them are the same, right? So it's supposed to be the same, but they're not. So the reasoning is the truth tables are not.
Now if I went back to this, I
You're saying is this statement is the same truth table as this statement. So is this row, this column, same as this column? That's what they're asking. Is this column the same as this column? Very good. That's how I do it. Okay, let's fill this in. Okay, here's your first row. Okay, next. If P is true and Q is true, R is false. P or Q. Or sorry, mine the same one? Oh, mine's different. I'm on the wrong page. My bad.
You're right so far.
There we go. Is that what we got?
Yeah.
Okay, next. Scenario 3, true, false, true. Yes.
I got a false on that second one. The first one was false for me
Right here?
because it was or and one of them was
So true and a false, right? If one of them's true, then it's got to be true. Disjunction, one of them's true, it's got to be true. Yes. Good now?
Yep.
Okay, on this one right here, if you look at P and Q, that's true. So that's a true or a false. That means it's got to be true because it's a disjunction. What we've got to understand is this acts as one statement in comparing it with this one. So this statement versus this statement. Okay? So you got to find the value of this whole statement first and compare it with the value of this statement. Okay, next. TFT scenario. It's going to give you T, T, F, T.
Yes.
alright.
Okay. Next. True, false, false scenario. Fail, 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 fail. I just get false, 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 false. Okay, all false.
What, 4 people failed this?
No.
4 people tried to test.
All those are false though. Questions? Yes.
So, in that scenario, if P and if we replace Q with P, would that be true?
So replace this P, this Q with P.
Yeah.
So P or R. So P or R, that would be true. It would be 2 truths. Okay? Next, we have FTT. That's going to give you T, F, F, T.
Alright, let's go. Good so far.
Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, next row. FTF. You're going to get true, false, false, false. Okay, do we have the first rows, those first 6 rows down?
No, we only have 2 more.
Okay, last 2 rows. FFT. You're going to get true, false, false, true.
Yes. That's amazing.
Okay, which row is the same as this row? What row matches row 7? In the back, yeah, remember your name. Adam.
It would be row 5.
Row 5. Okay, if you guys look at row 5, that's FTT. That's also TFFT, right? So some of these scenarios will have the same outputs. Some of the scenarios have the same outputs. So false, false, false. This is false, 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 false. Questions on any of those rows? Okay, we need to move on. Oh, number 2. Do these statements have the same truth outcomes or truth tables? So what they're asking, when they say statements, the statements they're referring to are this column versus this column. Are the 2 columns the same?
No.
Are they close to being the same?
Yeah.
Yes, they're very, very close to being the same. Okay, in this case, they're not. Does anyone have a good reason why they're not the same? Yes. Okay, parentheses are in different places, which messes up what? What does that do? Messes up the what? Yes.
Order of operations.
Messes up the order. So instead of having a disjunction first and then a conjunction, it's a conjunction first, then a disjunction.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it. Disjunction happens first here, you said, and conjunction happens here first, right?
Yeah, it's one
So it messes up the order that way. I like that reasoning. Very good. Question? Hey, guys, quiet, please.
Because all of the statements have different meanings.
Good. Yeah, I like that. Just what we need to make sure we get down to is that it screws up the order of operations in both cases. It's just different order of operations. Good job, guys. Okay, heads down. Heads down. Who did well on that truth table? You feel like you did well. Raise your hand if you feel like you did well. Raise your hand if you feel like you did okay. You feel like you did fair. You did okay. Raise your hand if you are not confident in filling out a truth table at all. You're not confident. You're kind of scared of truth tables. Hands down, heads down.
Wait.
You guys all just lost sentences. Except for you. Mag, head up, let's go. Just kidding. Hey, good job. Questions? Those of you that are struggling.
Nope.
There's a few of you, so I'm concerned.
When are we gonna use this in
Do you think logically every day?
Maybe not every.
No.
Do you make logical decisions?
Sometimes.
Mathematics, computers, doesn't work without logic. I'll keep
And
that
every
simple.
decision is like a more advanced way of truth.
Huh?
You'll use this in your math
I know,
class.
but is this more advanced way of truth?
Yeah. Okay, let's go. We gotta move forward, guys. Okay, next. Conditional statement. So the conditional statement, P arrow Q, is going to have if P then Q. So new notation. If P then Q. So, or you can say P arrow Q, you never hear that, so don't do that one, cross that one out. We want if P then Q. When you see the little arrow, it means if P then Q. Okay, is the statement that is false if and only if P is true and Q is false. So if P is true and Q is false, then the statement is false. Okay, is the statement that is false if and only if P is true and Q is false. So the only way this statement's false is if what?
And if P is the first letter, I mean, if P is true and Q is false, then it won't work because
And it's false.
it's saying, and P is true, so then it would be Q, but if Q is false, then
Good. P is called the antecedent. You need to know that word. So I'll tell you to write the antecedent. I'll tell you to identify the consequent. So P would be the antecedent, Q would be the consequent in this case. You need to be able to identify both.
Alright.
Okay, identify which one's the antecedent, which one's the consequent. So here's our note. Remember, notes we highlight, we circle, we make sure we are aware of it. If P then Q is true, then sometimes P is called the hypothesis and Q is called the conclusion. Okay, sometimes antecedent is also known as a hypothesis. Okay, and our consequent is also known as a conclusion. So the two C words go together. Consequent, conclusion. Okay, can be synonymous with one another in this case. Antecedent with hypothesis can be synonymous with each other. Questions on that? Yes?
What's the point of having two names?
Depending on where you are in the world and they're using mathematics, these are what we're setting up basically, is that when you go to read it, you can understand like if someone's using a different notation or a different wording when they're talking about it. Yes?
Okay, so antecedent is the first one, and then consequent is the last one?
Yes.
Alright.
Still the same. First one's always the antecedent, second one's the consequent.
So it's always P.
No, it's not always P and Q, it might be A and B. It could be, it just depends which one's first, which one's second. So if this is the case, then P is the antecedent and Q is the consequent. If they were flipped, then Q would be the antecedent and P would be the consequent. Okay? Yes?
If P was like false and Q was true, then would the whole thing be true?
We're gonna get to that with our truth table in a minute. Okay? Okay. Example 8. Let me look at example 8. Okay, if we have this example, let P, Q, and R be the following. Our same statements we've been working with, right? So this is nice because we're working with the same statement over and over again, so we get used to it. Santa's jolly, Christmas on 4th of July, George Washington was the first U.S. president. So we have a true, a false, and a true, yes?
Yep.
Okay, if P then Q is written as, if Santa is jolly, then Christmas is on July 4th. Okay? True or false? Why? Why?
It's false because Christmas is not on July 4th, and because that statement is incorrect. And if it were P then not Q, then it would be true.
Good. So if it was P and not Q, then it'd be true. Okay? So the second statement was false, and the first statement was true, then the whole statement has to be false. Okay, the whole conditional statement has to be false. Okay, Q then R is written as if Christmas is on July 4th, then George Washington was the first U.S. president. Well, Christmas is on July 4th, that's going to be false. George Washington was the first U.S. president, that's true. We don't know what this is yet, do we?
It's true. It's false.
Okay, let's scroll down a little bit.
Hey, you told us right.
We're not going to get the truth out on this one quite yet. So keep that in mind. Okay? We don't know the output on that one yet because we haven't looked at all the truth value scenarios. Then we're looking at how to write P then R. So if Santa is jolly, then George Washington was first U.S. president. So that's how you write P arrow R. Or P if P then R. Okay? We can also use negations in conditional statements. This is how you write each case of a negation. Okay? Again, we're not going to look at truth values right this second with these ones. So these are the negations of all those statements put together. These are examples for you to go look at. So just like yesterday, we practiced writing a statement. We practiced writing a negation. We practiced writing a conjunction. Practiced writing a disjunction. Now we're practicing writing a conditional statement. Okay? You got to be able to write the statement, and then we're going to identify the truth values. So scroll down just a little bit now. Exercise 6. Okay? We're going to write the, I want you guys to give me the negation of each of these. Go ahead and write the negation for A, B, and C. Ready, go. Negation for A, B, and C. Yes.
What is a philosophy?
Android, and then there's Apple, iOS.
Verizon. I thought they were just.
So C is true. I'll tell you C is true. Okay, I'm not going to write the negation for each of these. I'm hoping you guys have those down. Okay, let's look at number 1, A, B, and C here. We need the truth value of each of these statements. Taylor Swift is famous. Is that true or false?
True.
True. Okay, a daisy is a tree. True or false?
False.
Okay, so the conjunction of A is false, right? Conjunction of B is true or false? True. Or sorry, I mean the negation. Sorry, negation. Negation of A is false. Negation of B is true. What is C?
True.
True. Android is the superior phone operating system.
It is.
Who are my iPhone users?
Android sucks.
Who are my Android users?
I don't have a
You're
phone.
Who are my non-phone users? Stay that way, makes life easy. Okay, scroll down, please. Number 2. Hey, you guys should have the negations of each of those statements. We have the truth value for the original statement. Let's look at number 2 here. We need if not A, then B. So not A is Taylor Swift is not famous, right? So Taylor Swift is not famous.
Isn't it if Taylor Swift is not?
Good. What would be my next word I put here? Then
Comma then.
what?
Then it would trade.
Daisy
That'd be kind of interesting.
is a tree. A true. Whoops, I'm writing true so much I can't write tree. Okay. Our goal is to identify the truth value of this statement. Now, if we go back to our definition, if the first part is true and the second part is false, then the statement has to be false. Okay? Does that mean all other cases it's true?
Yes.
No.
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 I think that's
No. If
Let's think about this. Is Taylor Swift is not famous? That's false, right?
Yeah.
We're going to say that a daisy is not true. That's false, yes?
It's true.
Because there's only one
That's
person.
not only it.
my head, guys,
Well,
if
good
Taylor
thing
Swift
that's
is not famous, Daisy is not a tree. Okay, Taylor Swift is not a tree.
Okay, so here's where our real logic's starting to kick in. Okay, we'll end with this. If Taylor Swift is not famous, that's false. Then, so Taylor Swift's not famous, that's false. Daisy's not is a tree, that's false as well. Now, if she's not famous and then the daisy is not a tree, these two falses make the whole thing true.
If they're both true, are they true?
Question.
Okay,
Stacy's
so-
talking, right?
Yeah. So if we have two truths, does that make it false or does it just stay true?
Logically, what would it be?
True.